I'm a heart surgeon. So why am I talking about you getting up to pee at 3 o'clock in the morning? The answer is going to make you rethink everything you thought you knew about your body. Every night, 50 million Americans wake up to use the bathroom. Not once, two times, three times, sometimes even five. They go to doctors. They take medication. They buy supplements for their prostate, for their bladder. They stop drinking water after 6 o'clock in the evening. And they still wake up at 3 in the morning. Why? Because in about 80% of cases, the bladder is completely healthy. It's not the problem. The pills, the herbs, the advice you've been following, all of it is aimed at the wrong organ. Nighttime urination is not really a urinary issue. It's a cardiovascular symptom that has been mislabeled. And that is exactly why I, a heart surgeon, need to talk to you about this. 3 o'clock in the morning. The room is completely still. You've just fallen into deep sleep, the heavy, good, rare kind of sleep. Then the signal comes, faint at first, somewhere at the edge of your awareness. You try to ignore it. You try to think about something else, but the pressure keeps building. You throw back the covers. Your feet hit the cold floor. You shuffle to the bathroom like a zombie. You go. You come back to bed, but the sleep is gone. Your mind starts racing. Work, bills, the kids. You lie there for an hour. You finally drift off again. And then it happens. Second trip. The next morning, you wake up feeling like you got hit by a truck. Heavy head, completely drained. You spend the whole day pouring coffee into yourself just to function. I see this in the eyes of hundreds of patients who walk into my office, and almost every one of them says the same thing. Doc, what can you do? It's just age. Everybody gets up at night. I need to say this clearly. That is a lie. A dangerous illusion that needs to be broken right now. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why your bladder is not the problem, which organ is actually responsible, and a simple protocol that can help you sleep through the night. No medication, no surgery. I'm Ibrahim Khan. I've spent 15 years in cardiothoracic surgery. I see the end result. What happens when signals like this get ignored for too long? You need to hear this. Getting up to pee at night is not normal. Not at 40, not at 50, not at 70. If you get up once a night, that's a warning sign. If you get up two times or more, that's an alarm bell going off. But when patients sit in front of me, almost all of them say the same thing. It's just age, doctor. Everybody goes through it. That is the most dangerous lie I hear in my office. And I need to break it right now. I want to tell you about Walter, 61 years old, a former high school baseball coach, retired for 2 years. Walter used to be a strong man. For 30 years, he stood out on that field, yelling, moving, running after his players. He was not the kind of man who complained. But that day, he was sitting in my office not because of nighttime urination. Walter came in because he was getting short of breath climbing stairs. He told me, going up to the second floor, I have to stop and catch my breath, doc. I used to run the whole field and feel nothing. But while I was taking his history, I asked about his sleep. And the answer didn't come from Walter. His wife sitting in the corner spoke up. Doctor, he gets up to pee 4 or 5 times every night. I can't sleep because he keeps waking me up. Walter waved it off. That's just age, doc. Everybody goes through it. I'm more worried about the stairs. I looked at him. Walter, those stairs in that bathroom at 3 o'clock in the morning, they're the same problem. He looked at me like I had just started speaking another language. But when I asked a few more questions, everything started to line up. Let me show you why. At night, your brain releases a hormone called vasopressin, also known as antidiuretic hormone. Its job is simple. It tells your kidneys to reduce urine production while you sleep. Think of your kidneys like a water filtration plant that runs all day and all night. During the day, the plant runs at full capacity, filtering blood, removing waste, producing urine. But at night, the manager sends down a message. Night shift, run in economy mode, concentrate the urine, reduce the volume. Vasopressin is that message. When this system works properly, your kidneys reduce urine production at night by about 60 to 70%. Your bladder doesn't fill up. You sleep straight through for 7 to 8 hours. But when the system breaks down, the kidneys either don't get the message or they don't respond to it. So they keep running at full speed at 2 in the morning like it's the middle of the day. The result, your bladder fills. You wake up, and every time you wake up, your body pays a bigger price than you realize. Your heart rate jumps, your blood pressure spikes, your body gets pulled out of deep sleep, and that deep sleep phase matters. That's the only phase where your brain clears out metabolic waste, where your neurons repair themselves, and where your heart actually gets real rest. Clinical studies show that nighttime urination puts stress on the cardiovascular system faster than smoking. That's not exaggeration. That's data from published research. Year after year, losing deep sleep is a direct path to high blood pressure, depression, and early brain aging. But before we go any further, I need to pause for a moment. As a physician, there are situations where I do not want you trying to fix this with a video or a home routine. There are times when you need to sit in front of a real doctor. As soon as possible, here are three warning signs. First, blood in your urine without pain. Remember that combination. If there's blood with pain, it's usually a kidney stone or an acute bladder infection, painful, uncomfortable, but not immediately life threatening. But if you see dark red or brown urine, blood clots in the toilet, and no pain at all, that can be one of the earliest serious signs of bladder cancer. Here's why this is dangerous. When you have a stone or infection, your body sends a loud signal. Pain, you know something is wrong. But early bladder cancer is often silent. It bleeds quietly. No pain. And many people see the blood, feel nothing, and assume it's not serious. If you are over 50, man or woman, this is a direct reason to get a cystoscopy. That's when a doctor uses a small camera to look inside your bladder. Do not wait. Do not guess. Second, bone pain with sudden weight loss. If your nighttime urination comes with dull pain in your pelvis or lower back and you've lost around 10 to 20 pounds in 2 months without trying, that pattern is a warning sign for possible cancer spread. Unexplained weight loss is one of the strongest signals your body is fighting something serious. Combine that with bone pain, and any doctor will take it seriously. Third, acute urinary retention. You feel a strong urge to urinate. Your bladder feels like it's about to burst. You strain, your lower abdomen hurts, and nothing comes out. That is a medical emergency. Not tomorrow, not the weekend. Right now, you need immediate help, usually a catheter to relieve the bladder. Waiting too long can damage your kidneys. If none of these apply to you, take a breath. You are not in immediate danger. You're going to be okay. But your quality of life matters. And to protect it, we need to understand exactly what kind of problem is happening inside your body. Because nighttime urination is not one disease, it is a symptom. And that symptom has three completely different causes. This part is important because each type is treated differently. And if you treat the wrong one, it doesn't just fail, it can actually make things worse. Type 1, global polyuria. This means you produce too much urine all day and all night. Each time the volume is large, if you measured your total urine over 24 hours, it would be around 3 to 4 liters. There are usually two main causes. First, you're simply drinking too much fluid. Carrying a water bottle all day thinking more water is always better, but the physics is simple. What goes in has to come out. Second, diabetes. Either type 2 diabetes, where sugar in the blood pulls water with it, or diabetes insipidus, which is a hormone problem involving the brain. In this type, the urine is usually pale, almost odorless, and you go just as often during the day as you do at night. This type needs an endocrinologist. It needs blood testing. Type 2 nocturnal polyuria. This is the most common type. About 60 to 70% of people over 50 have it. Here's what it looks like. During the day, everything feels normal. You go about your routine. You use the bathroom every 4 or 5 hours. No pain, no burning, no issue. But the moment you lie down, everything changes. 3, 4 times a night, each time the bladder is full, loud volume. And in the morning, you sit there wondering, I barely drank anything last night. Where did all this urine come from? That is nocturnal polyuria. Your kidneys have switched their schedule. Half speed during the day, 200% at night. This is Walter's type, and this is the one we're focusing on today. And here's the key point. If this is your type, your bladder is not the problem. It's just doing its job, holding what your kidneys send to it. Treating the bladder in this case is useless. Type 3, a storage problem. This one is completely different. You feel the urge suddenly, frequently, urgently. It feels like you won't make it. You rush to the bathroom, sit down, and almost nothing comes out. Just a few drops. 40 minutes later, the urge hits again and again, almost nothing. Here the problem is the bladder itself. It has lost its ability to stretch to normal capacity, or its nerve signals have become too sensitive. The alarm gets triggered when there's only about 50 milliliters of urine, when normally it should take 200 to 300 milliliters before you feel the need to go. Common causes include prostate enlargement in men, overactive bladder in women, chronic infections, or stones. Let me summarize this so it sticks. Large volume all day and night, global polyuria, normal during the day, flooding at night, nocturnal polyuria, frequent urgency but very little output, storage problem. So now the question is, which one sounds like you? Type 1, type 2, or type 3? Put it in the comments. I want to know because it helps guide what I focus on in future videos. Let's go back to Walter. Before he came to see me, Walter had already done everything the internet and the ads told him to do. His logic was simple. If he was waking up to pee all night, it must be his prostate. He was in his 60s. That's what people say, right? So he went to the pharmacy, bought prostate supplements, the kind you see advertised on TV, then herbs, then suppositories. He took them consistently. Nothing changed. Then he thought, if I'm producing this much urine, I must be drinking too much. So he made a strict rule. After 6 o'clock in the evening, no fluids, not a drop of water, not a sip of tea. He even avoided fruit because of the water in it. Every night he went to bed with a dry throat, bitter mouth. His tongue felt like sandpaper. And still at 2 o'clock in the morning, he got up and released about half a liter. At 4 in the morning, another half liter. So where was it coming from? He wasn't drinking anything. When Walter sat in front of me, his eyes were red from lack of sleep. He brought a thick folder with him: bladder ultrasound, PSA test, the prostate cancer marker, blood work, a stack of prescriptions. I looked through everything. His PSA was completely normal. His prostate was slightly enlarged, grade 1, but that level does not create this kind of clinical picture. His bladder was clean, no stones. From a urology standpoint, Walter was almost completely healthy, but this man was exhausted. He was suffering. He had been losing sleep for months. So I stopped asking about how he urinated. I started asking about how he lived. Do you get short of breath? Yes. Climbing to the second floor. I have to stop. But I smoked for years. Probably my lungs. Does your wedding ring feel tighter in the evening? He looked down. Yeah, I take it off in the afternoon. It fits in the morning. Gets tight later. Do your socks leave marks on your legs? When I take them off, there's a deep dent in my skin. But doctor, doesn't that happen to everyone? I nodded. And in that moment, everything clicked. Walter didn't have a prostate problem. Walter had a heart problem. I told Walter something that shocked him. Walter, throw away those prostate pills. You don't need a urologist. Your problem is your heart. He looked at me like I had lost my mind. My heart. What does that have to do with anything? I'm running to the bathroom, not holding my chest. I understand that reaction. Most people think the same way. What does the heart have to do with the bladder? Let me explain. Imagine a plastic bottle half filled with water. When it stands upright, the water settles at the bottom. When you lay it flat, the water spreads out evenly. Your body works the same way. For about 16 hours a day, you are upright, standing, or sitting. Gravity pulls everything downward: blood, lymph fluid, the fluid between your cells. All of it moves toward your legs and ankles. When you are young, your blood vessels are strong and elastic. The valves inside your veins hold blood in place and prevent it from falling backward. Your calf muscles contract when you walk, acting like a pump that pushes blood back up against gravity. But as you get older, or if you sit most of the day, that system starts to weaken. Veins stretch, valves begin to leak, the muscle pump slows down, fluid starts leaking out of the vessels into the surrounding tissue and in the soft tissue of your lower legs. As much as 1.5 liters of fluid can build up. 1.5 liters, that's about 3 large cups of tea. And you may not even notice it. Here's the key point. Your kidneys don't see that fluid because it's no longer in your bloodstream. It's sitting in your tissues, and the kidneys only filter what's in your blood. During the day, everything seems normal. Then evening comes. Walter gets home, eats dinner, usually something salty, cheese, processed meat, maybe a sauce. Then he sits in front of the TV from 7 to 11, 4 hours. His legs are hanging down. Gravity keeps pulling fluid into the tissues. His heart rate slows because he's sitting still. Then he goes to bed, and this is where everything changes. Now his legs are level with his heart and kidneys. Gravity is no longer holding that fluid down. All the fluid that built up during the day starts moving back into circulation. It gets reabsorbed into the veins and flows back toward the center of the body. Like a wave, the volume of blood in circulation rises quickly. Think about this. It's like someone injected an extra liter of fluid directly into your bloodstream. That's not a metaphor. That's what is happening in your body every night if you have hidden swelling in your legs. And now the main player steps in your heart, more specifically a hormone called AMP atrialic. This is the central mechanism. When that extra fluid returns, the upper chamber of the heart stretches beyond its normal capacity. The heart senses overload. Pressure is rising, so it releases NP into the bloodstream. This is a signal to the kidneys, a very clear message. Get rid of water now or I'm going to fail. ANP blocks aldosterone, the hormone that normally helps your body hold on to water. And the kidneys switch into emergency mode. They start filtering faster, dumping both water and sodium, trying to protect the heart. The result, within about an hour of lying down, your bladder is full. You wake up, go to the bathroom, come back to bed, but the fluid from your legs isn't gone yet. The process keeps going. 2 hours later, full bladder again. And the cycle repeats all night. That's why Walter, who didn't drink a single drop after 6 o'clock in the evening, still ran to the bathroom all night. He wasn't drinking through his mouth. He was drinking through his legs. 1.5 layers of fluid stored during the day, dumped through the kidneys at night. No prostate pill can fix that. No herb can fix that because they're all targeting the wrong organ. Treating the bladder when the real problem is in the heart and gravity is like putting tape over a smoke detector while the basement is on fire. Your body is trying to protect you and you're trying to silence it. I checked Walter's heart right there in the office. And what I found confirmed exactly what I suspected. Early stage heart failure, no dramatic symptoms, no chest pain, no obvious warning signs, just one subtle clue: shortness of breath when climbing stairs. During the day, Walter's heart was working at its limit. It pumped just enough for him to get through normal life, but not strong enough to keep fluid from backing up into the tissues, especially in his legs. Walter didn't know it. His wife didn't know it. Even the urologist he had seen before didn't know it because nobody thinks about the heart when a 61-year-old man says he's waking up to pee all night. I also sent Walter to a sleep specialist for further testing. The result: sleep apnea, obstructive sleep apnea, a condition where the airway repeatedly collapses during sleep. The person snores, stops breathing, then suddenly gasps and starts breathing again. This cycle can repeat dozens, even hundreds of times a night. Sleep apnea alone is enough to disrupt the production of antidiuretic hormone. The brain fails to send the slowdown signal to the kidneys. So instead of reducing urine production at night, the kidneys stay active. Walter had both early heart failure and sleep apnea, and both of them were feeding into the same symptom: nighttime urination. Now, the full picture was clear. Walter had spent months treating his prostate, but that was never the real problem. He was trying to fix a leaking faucet in the kitchen while the main pipe had already burst in the basement. His bladder was working perfectly. It was doing exactly what it was supposed to do, holding what the kidneys produced and signaling when it was full. The bladder was never the problem. So now you might be wondering, how do I know if this is happening to me? Here's the good news. You don't need an MRI. You don't need complicated tests. You don't need a hospital. You just need your hands and a few minutes of attention. Test number one: checking for hidden swelling. Sit down comfortably. Pull up your pant leg so you can see your lower leg, the area between your knee and your ankle. Find your shin bone. That's the hard ridge along the front of your leg, the place where you can feel bone right under the skin. Now place your thumb on that spot about halfway between your knee and your ankle, slightly closer to the ankle. Press firmly. Hold it there for 10 to 15 seconds. Not a light touch, real pressure. Then release. Now run your finger over that same spot. What do you feel? If the skin goes back to flat immediately, no dent, that's a good sign. But if your thumb leaves a visible indentation, a small pit that takes a few seconds to fill back in, then you've just found hidden fluid. Even if your leg doesn't look swollen, that clear throat dent is proof your tissue is holding water. And tonight, when you lie down, that water is going to move through your kidneys. Test number two: a simple urine diary. Pick a day when you're home. Take a measuring cup. Any kitchen measuring cup works. Every time you urinate, measure the volume and write it down. Split it into two columns: daytime and nighttime. The very first time you urinate in the morning counts as nighttime because that urine was produced overnight. At the end of the day, add everything up. If your nighttime urine is more than one-third of your total daily output, you officially have nocturnal polyuria. Here's a simple example. If you produce about 1,500 milliliters in 24 hours and 500 milliliters or more of that happens at night, that's your pattern. Your kidneys have reversed their schedule. Not because your bladder is broken, not because of your prostate, because fluid is being distributed incorrectly in your body. If both tests are positive, you see that dent in your leg, and you're producing large amounts of pale urine at night, you can relax a little. Your bladder is almost certainly fine. You don't need surgery. You don't need expensive procedures. You don't need lifelong medication. You need to fix circulation and daily habits. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. You might be thinking, okay, I understand the leg fluid and the gravity part, but what about food? Does what I eat really matter? It does, and in ways that may surprise you. There are certain foods that act like a timer for your kidneys. You eat them at dinner and they quietly program your body to do most of its work at 2 or 3 in the morning. And chances are you're eating them every day, honestly believing they're harmless, maybe even healthy. The first enemy is hidden salt. When I ask patients what they eat in the evening, most of them say the same thing. Doctor, I'm careful. I don't eat salty food. But then I look closer. Dinner turns out to be a sandwich with cheese and deli meat, or a sausage with mashed potatoes or crackers with cream cheese before bed. Here's what most people don't realize. About 80% of the salt we consume doesn't come from the salt shaker. It comes from processed food: cheese, deli meats, sausages, mayonnaise, canned food, even bread. 100 grams of hard cheese can contain as much sodium as an entire bag of potato chips. You don't taste it clearly because fat and flavoring mask the salt, but it's there. And here's what happens in your body. You eat that cheese at 7 o'clock in the evening. Sodium enters your bloodstream. Your body reacts immediately. Too much salt. We need to dilute this. So it starts holding on to water. In the evening, you don't feel anything. You're not running to the bathroom. The salt is locking water inside your blood vessels and tissues. But later, while you're asleep, your kidneys detect that excess sodium and begin flushing it out. And sodium pulls water with it. To remove that salt, your kidneys have to move a large volume of fluid. The result is simple. You wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, not because you drank too much, but because your body is clearing out what you ate the night before. The second enemy is evening sugar. A lot of people say, I just have an apple before bed. It's healthy, it's vitamins. But simple carbohydrates at night cause a rapid spike in blood sugar. Your pancreas releases insulin, and insulin doesn't just regulate sugar, it also signals the kidneys to hold on to sodium and water. So, first, your body retains fluid. Then, 2 to 3 hours later, right when you're in deep sleep, your blood sugar drops. The system flips. Now, your kidneys switch into active fluid release. And if you have insulin resistance, which many people over 40 do without even knowing it, sugar starts acting like a diuretic. It pulls water out of your cells and pushes it into your urine. Biologically, eating grapes before bed can act very similarly to taking a water pill. The third enemy is alcohol. Many people tell me, Doc, a small drink before bed helps me sleep. I don't even feel the urge to go. This is one of the most common forms of self deception I see. Yes, alcohol helps you fall asleep faster. It slows down your nervous system, but at the same time, it blocks antidiuretic hormone, the very signal your brain sends to tell your kidneys to slow down at night. Alcohol shuts that signal off completely. Your kidneys keep working all night with nothing holding them back. The sedative effect might help you sleep through the first urge. Your bladder fills, but you don't wake up. Then it fills more. By the second urge, the pressure is too strong and you wake up anyway. And the quality of your sleep throughout the night is poor. No deep sleep. You wake up exhausted with a full bladder. In many cases, it's worse than not drinking at all. So, what actually helps? I'll keep this part simple. Raw pumpkin seeds, not roasted, not salted. They contain magnesium, which helps relax the bladder muscle, and zinc, which supports prostate health in men. Just a small handful a day is enough. Whole cranberries, not sweetened juice, fresh or frozen. They help reduce bacteria sticking to the bladder lining and calm irritation. And finally, fiber vegetables, greens, cabbage, squash, bran. Here's why fiber matters. If you are constipated, your colon becomes swollen and presses against your bladder. They sit right next to each other and there isn't much space. A full colon pushes on the bladder and makes it feel full even when it's not. But if your bowel is empty before bed, your bladder has room to expand normally and won't send false signals. This is the most practical part of today's video. I'm going to show you exactly what I told Walter to do and what completely changed his sleep after months of exhaustion. It's simple. 3 parts: morning, daytime, and evening. In total, it takes about 5 minutes a day. We start with the morning, not the evening. The moment you get out of bed, don't go straight to coffee. Stop for about 30 seconds. After a full night of lying still, your lymphatic fluid has slowed down and started to pull. We want to get it moving early so by the end of the day, your legs don't become a storage tank for fluid. Here's what you do. Stand upright with your feet about shoulder width apart. Lift your heels slightly, about half an inch to an inch. Then let them drop back down with a gentle but firm contact with the floor. You should feel a light vibration travel upward from your calves. Do this about 30 times, roughly one movement per second. That's it. 30 seconds. What's happening inside your body is simple. Your veins contain small valves that prevent blood from flowing backward. As you age or become less active, those valves become sluggish. This small rhythmic vibration helps wake them up and encourages blood to move upward against gravity. It's one of the simplest ways to prevent fluid from building up in your legs. And it starts in the morning. If standing is uncomfortable because of knee or back issues, there's an alternative. Lie on your back. Lift both your arms and legs into the air and gently shake them. It may look a little strange, but it activates lymphatic flow within about a minute and gets the same job done. Now let's move to the daytime. What I call the waterfall method. If you look at how most people drink fluids during the day, it usually builds up toward the evening. They come home tired and thirsty and then drink several cups of tea or water all at once. That's exactly what we want to change. About 70% of your daily fluid intake should happen before 4 in the afternoon. Start your day with a glass of water. Keep a bottle nearby during work and sip regularly. Drink with your meals. Then after 4 in the afternoon, you scale down. Not completely because dehydration is also dangerous, But instead of large amounts, you take small sips only when needed. There's one more simple change here. Remove the salt shaker from your table. Salt your food while cooking, not while eating. That one habit alone can reduce your sodium intake by 20 to 30% without changing your meals at all. Now we come to the most important part, the evening about 1 to 1.5 hours before bedtime. While you're watching TV or reading, do something very simple. Lie down on a couch or on the floor and raise your legs. Rest them on the back of a chair, the arm of a sofa, or against a wall. The only requirement is that your heels are higher than your heart. You don't need to lift them straight up. About a 45-degree angle is enough. Stay in that position for 15 to 20 minutes. You can relax, scroll your phone, listen to something, no effort needed. What's happening during those 20 minutes is the key to everything we've talked about. Gravity now works for you instead of against you. It pushes the fluid out of your lower legs and back into circulation. Blood returns to the heart. The heart senses the increased volume and releases. The kidneys switch into active filtration mode. Your bladder begins to fill, but now you're awake and in control. About 30 to 40 minutes after you lower your legs, you'll feel the urge to urinate. Go to the bathroom and empty your bladder. You may release around 300 to 400 milliliters, exactly the amount that would have woken you up in the middle of the night. This is the principle. You're draining your legs before you go to sleep. You're giving your kidneys their workload while you're awake so they can rest at night if you have noticeable swelling in your legs. You can add light compression stockings. Wear them in the evening after you get home and remove them before bed. They help prevent fluid from accumulating in your lower legs during those hours. There's one final step before sleep, Kegel exercises. Once you're in bed, lights off. Take a moment to do 20 to 30 contractions of your pelvic floor muscles. But most people do this incorrectly. They tighten their stomach, squeeze their thighs, or clench their glutes. That doesn't help. Here's how to do it correctly. Imagine you're trying to prevent passing gas, or imagine gently lifting the area between your legs upward like an elevator moving from the ground floor to the fifth floor. Your abdomen stays relaxed. Your glutes stay relaxed. Only the internal pelvic floor muscles are working. Tighten, hold for about 3 seconds, then slowly release. Repeat this 20 to 30 times. This sends a signal through your nervous system that the pelvic floor is stable and ready. It helps the bladder stop reacting to small amounts of urine and return to normal function. That's the full protocol. Morning, 30 seconds of heel drops. Daytime, most of your fluids before 4 in the afternoon and less salt. Evening, elevate your legs for 15 to 20 minutes. Then empty your bladder before sleep, followed by proper keel exercises. No medication, no procedures, no cost. Walter didn't believe me at first. He looked at me and said, Doc, this sounds too simple. Putting my legs up on the couch? That's your solution? I told him the same thing I'll tell you. Try it for 1 week, just one. He came back 7 days later. He sat down, looked at me, and said quietly, almost like he didn't trust his own words, I only got up once, not 5 times, not for once. And it wasn't even in the middle of the night. It was early morning. A month later, Walter was sleeping through the night. No more constant interruption. No more walking half asleep to the bathroom. No more starting the day exhausted. What changed? His kidneys stopped working the night shift because he had already given them their workload in the evening while he was still awake and in control. The fluid that used to wake him up at 3 o'clock in the morning was already gone before he went to bed. At his next checkup, his cardiologist noticed something else. The swelling in his legs had gone down. His circulation had improved, and his heart was working under less stress. And his wife, for the first time in years, she slept through the night too. I want you to do 5 simple things starting tonight. First, do the thumb test on your shin. Press and check if a dent remains. Second, on your next day off, measure your urine output and see how much of it happens at night. Third, remove the salt shaker from your table tonight. Pay attention to hidden salt in your dinner. Fourth, about 1 hour before bed, lie down and elevate your legs for 15 to 20 minutes. Fifth, before sleep, do 20 to 30 proper Kegel repetitions. Only the pelvic floor, everything else relaxed. And if you notice this, if that dent in your leg stays, if you get short of breath climbing stairs, if your socks leave deep marks in your skin by evening, don't go to a urologist first. Go to a cardiologist. That's the path that actually leads to the cause. Your body is not broken. Your bladder is not your enemy. It's a signal, a warning light. And now you know how to turn that light off. Not by silencing it, but by fixing what's behind it. I'm Ibrahim Khan. After 15 years in heart surgery, I've seen what happens when people ignore signals like this for too long.